This is Lesson 5-2B from the Algebra Readiness textbook. In your notes packet, complete the study guide problems and continue the video when you're ready to compare your answers to mine. You're first asked to write 7 1/8 as a decimal. We know that we take only the fraction portion, 1/8, and convert that to a decimal, and the 7 stays as the whole number out in front. We also learned that the fraction bar means divide. So really, I'm going to take 1 divided by 8. 1 divided by 8. Now, 8 doesn't go into 1. So I put a 0 above the 1, and I add a decimal and a 0. 8 goes into 10 one time. I subtract, add a 0, bring it down. 8 goes into 20 two times. Then I subtract, I still don't come out even. I bring down a 0, 8 goes into 40 5 times, and there it comes out even. Now, I'm going to use the 7 and the decimal portion, 7 and 125 thousandths. This is a terminating decimal because the decimal comes out even eventually. It ends. Because it ends. Okay, the next one. Write 13/18 as a decimal. This time there's no whole number to contend with. So 13 divided by 18. 18 does not go into 1. 18 does not go into 13. 18 does go into 130 7 times. And I get 126. When I subtract, 18 goes into 40 2 times. That gives me 36. Oh, I see I got a 4 again. Now that means, take a look what's going to happen. I get 40 again. So 18 goes into 40 2 times. It looks to me like that 2 is going to repeat. So we're going to put a bar above the 2 only, not the 7. So my answer is 72 hundredths with a repeating bar over the 2 only. And then you're going to say that this is a repeating decimal. All right, so that's what we learned in our last lesson. For today's lesson, our learning target is to convert decimals to fractions. I think you're going to find converting decimals to fractions to be a little easier than going from fractions to decimals. But let's give it a try. Starting here. Reading a decimal correctly provides a way to write your fraction. Think about this. If the decimal is read 43 hundredths, you would read that 43 hundredths. And the fraction is 43 hundredths. Think about that. Are you aware that you're actually saying the decimal and the fraction in the same way? If the decimal is greater than 1, you will write it as a mixed number. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Let's write down our steps. Step 1, these need to go in your notes. Step 1, identify the place value of the last digit. In our example, the place value of the last digit is a hundredths place. The 3 is in the hundredths place. I'm going to write it up here. The second step is to put the decimal portion over the place value. The third step is to simplify if possible. Now, 43 1/100ths was already in simplest form. Let's try this one together. It's the next box in your notes. Write 1 and 12 hundredths as a mixed number in simplest form. The 1 is not part of the fraction. That is the whole number that goes big and out in front. Then 12 goes over 100 because the 12 is in the hundredths place. Then I'm going to do step 3, simplify. 12 and 100 are both divisible by 4. Now I leave the 1 really big out in front. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 100 divided by 4 is 25. 1 3/25. Pause the video if you need more time. Let's do another couple to practice. Write the fraction or write each decimal as a fraction or a mixed number in simplest form. The first one is 1 75/100. I identify the place value of the 5. In this case, it's 100. 1 75 over 100. Then I reduce the fraction. I know that 75 and 100 are both divisible by 25. It always makes me think of quarters. 75 cents and 100 or $1. That's where I get my math on that. So 75 divided by 25 is 3, and 100 divided by 25 is 4, and then that whole number stays out in front. And so 1 3/4. All right, now you're going to need to try this on your own. You practice by doing the next 2, by pausing the video and getting an answer. Then come back, continue the video when you're ready to compare your answers to mine. In letter B, I see that this 2 is in the hundredths place. 2 and 32 over 100. Then I notice that 32 and 100 are both divisible by 4. Is 4 my best? Maybe 4 is my best option. I'm probably missing one, but we're going to go with 4. 2 and 8/25. No, I'm not missing one. There we go. The next one. This one doesn't have a whole number. This one has only the decimal, 65, and again, it's in the hundredths place. Let's divide this by 5 over 5, and I get 13/20. All right. Let's practice some more. Try all 3 of these on your own, and come on back when you're ready to compare your answers to mine. All right, for 3 and 44/100, I put 44 over 100 and divided the numerator and the denominator by 4. For 375 thousandths, I made my fraction and now I'm ready to simplify. 375 divided by 25 is 15, and 1,000 divided by 25 gives me 40. That's not enough though, is it? I see they have still a common factor of 5. And so I get 3/8. There we go. And the last one, the 9 is in the hundredths place. This is already simplified. Now, we're not done with the lesson. In fact, much of this you already knew from 6th grade, and this is just review. Here's something new for 7th grade. What if you have a repeating decimal? If you have a repeating decimal and you are asked to convert it into a fraction, you will follow these steps. These are in your notes. Let's plug the words into your notes packet. Identify the number of repeating digits. Write that down. Step 2, place the repeating digits in the numerator. Step 3, the denominator will always be 9, 99, 999, etc. Use the same amount of 9s as there are repeating digits. Step 4, simplify. Now, here's a little note. This only works if all of the digits after the decimal repeat. Now, it will not work on 1500ths with only the 5 repeating. If it has a part of the decimal that doesn't repeat, then this method doesn't work. And there's another more advanced method that you will learn. That method, however, is beyond a 7th grade standard, and you will not encounter any of those problems throughout 7th grade math. So we'll save that for you to learn in future math courses. So writing a repeating decimal as a fraction. If I were going to write 7200ths repeating as a fraction, I would follow the steps written in my notes. Step 1, identify the number of repeating digits, 72. That's 2 digits. Place the repeating digits in the numerator. In the denominator, use the same number of 9s as there are repeating digits. In this case, there are 2 repeating digits, so I put it over 2 9s. Then simplify. And I get 8/11ths. Okay, I'm going to say this one more time. Step 1, figure out how many digits are repeating. The line is over 2 numbers. Take those 2 numbers and put them in the numerator. In the denominator, you use the same number of 9s as there are repeating digits. So 99, 2 9s. And then simplify like normal, and you get 8/11ths. I would like you to pause the video and try the remaining 3 problems. Then continue the video when you're ready to compare your answers to mine. I see that the 7 is the only digit repeating. I place it in the numerator, and in the denominator, I place 1 9 because there is 1 digit repeating. 7/9 is already in simplest form. Letter B, 5400ths is repeating, so I take the 5 and the 4 and place it in the numerator. In the denominator, I will put 2 9s because there are 2 repeating numbers. Now I'm ready to reduce. I reduce this by dividing the numerator and denominator by 9, and I get 6/11ths. Lastly, 213 is the repeating series of numbers, so I put it in the numerator. In the denominator, I place it over 999. 3 9s in the bottom because there are 3 digits repeating. Now, using my divisibility rules, I see that 213 and 999 are both divisible by 3. And so I get 71 in the numerator and 333 in the denominator. And that is my answer. All right, give a go on your homework, which is on page 234.